The story of Adam and Eve. Greeting friends. Do you know about the origin of humanity? There's a story from ancient times, a tale that has echoed through the ages, passed down from generation to generation. It's the story of Adam and Eve, a narrative from the Bible, rich in symbolism and meaning. Whether you view it as literal or metaphorical, the lessons embedded within are powerful. Once upon a time, before the stars twinkled in the night sky and before the rivers cut their way through the valleys, there was a creator, God. In this cosmic expanse, God decided to create a world. And so, with a word, he spoke life into existence. The sun, moon, stars, and earth sprang into being. Lush gardens blossomed, birds filled the skies, and the sea teemed with life. It was a masterpiece, a world brimming with beauty. Yet something was missing, someone to tend to this creation, someone made in his own image. And so, from the dust of the earth, God fashioned a man, Adam. Unlike any other creature, Adam was unique. He had the breath of life from God himself, and with it the ability to reason, to feel, and to dream. God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden, a paradise where rivers flowed with crystal-clear water and fruit trees provided nourishment without labor. Every need Adam had was met. Yet there was one condition, one law that would define everything to come. In the middle of this garden there stood two trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God commanded Adam, "You may eat freely of every tree in the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you shall not eat. For in the day you eat of it, you shall surely die." As Adam lived in this paradise, he named the animals and cared for the garden, but something was still amiss. He was alone. Though the creatures were wonderful, none were like him. God saw this, and in his compassion, he decided that Adam needed a companion, someone who would be his equal, his partner. So God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. From his side, he took a rib and crafted a woman, Eve. She was to be Adam's companion, made not from the ground, but from Adam's own body. When Adam awoke and saw Eve, he was overjoyed. She was part of him, yet unique and wonderfully made. Together they were complete. In this perfect garden, Adam and Eve lived in harmony. No pain, no suffering, no death. They walked with God in the cool of the day, and everything was as it should be. However, this paradise was not without its shadows. Among the creatures of the garden was the serpent, more cunning and subtle than any other. One day, as Eve walked through the garden, the serpent slithered up to her and began to speak, questioning God's command. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Eve, not suspecting deception, replied, "We may eat the fruit of the trees, but not from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God said we must not eat it or even touch it, or we will die." The serpent's eyes gleamed with malice as he whispered, "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like him, knowing good and evil." Eve paused, looking at the tree. The fruit appeared beautiful and desirable, offering wisdom beyond her reach. Could the serpent be right? She reached out, plucked the fruit, and ate. In that moment something shifted. But she wasn't alone in this act. She gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate too. As soon as they ate the forbidden fruit, their eyes were opened. Suddenly, they became acutely aware of their nakedness. Shame and fear washed over them, emotions they had never felt before. They quickly sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves, trying to hide from the reality they had unleashed. In the evening, as they heard God walking in the garden, they hid. God called out to Adam, "Where are you?" Trembling, Adam replied, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God, in his all-knowing wisdom, asked, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" Adam, trying to deflect blame, said, "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." God then turned to Eve. "What is this you have done?" Eve too shifted the blame. "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Though God loved Adam and Eve, their disobedience could not go unpunished. With great sorrow, God pronounced judgment. The serpent, cursed for its role in the deception, was doomed to crawl on its belly and eat dust for the rest of its days. There would always be enmity between the serpent and humanity, and from the offspring of the woman would come one who would crush the serpent's head, even though the serpent would strike his heel, a cryptic prophecy of a future redemption. To Eve God said, "I will greatly increase your pain in childbirth. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." And to Adam God said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree, the ground is cursed because of you. Through painful toil, you will eat food from it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles will grow for you, and by the sweat of your brow, you will eat your food until you return to the ground, for dust you are and to dust you will return." With these words paradise was lost. Adam and Eve were no longer innocent. The world, once perfect, was now filled with hardship, suffering and death. As a final act of grace, God made garments of animal skins to clothe them, a sign of both his care and the reality of sacrifice. Then, God banished them from the Garden of Eden, placing cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. No longer could they live in that perfect place. They would now face a world outside Eden, filled with both beauty and brokenness. Yet, even in their exile, the story didn't end there. Though Adam and Eve had fallen, there was a promise embedded in the curse of the serpent. One day, from their descendants, someone would come to defeat evil once and for all, a glimmer of hope in a world now touched by sorrow. And so, the story of Adam and Eve is not just a tale of loss but also one of future redemption, reminding us that even in our darkest moments, hope and restoration are never too far away.